So again, an architect, we always design for health, safety, accessibility for persons with disabilities, structural fire protection, environmental separation, and taking as a consideration the last one, we always look for ways of design in order to just improve the building or the project itself, right? So I know that your company have several products. You have air sealing with all the elements that accompany to that membrane with tapes, sealant. You also have another portion which is thermal insulation, and also you have another division there which is fenestration. So at this point in time, knowing that your company is just taking into consideration a broad area of elements, let's try to kind of just focus on the air tightness and try to just explore in a little bit more detail about those ones. Maybe in the future we can just meet together again and maybe we can talk about the other items. But let's try to kind of just narrowing down your company in terms of air tightness. So now that I understand that you have a really good experience about this, can you mention me what has been the good, the bad, and the worst on that specific topic? Whatever, if you can just mention one little thing about each of those, just for everybody that is listening, is okay, what I have to kind of take in consideration when I'm talking about air tightness. If you can expand more the idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'll maybe explain it as good, better, and best, because currently good is just, as we talked about, doing or building a building to code. And so we're using Poly and Tyvek, again, which are great in their application, but at some point, those materials were pushing the material characteristics of it. And so when we're trying to get to the levels of performance that are dictated by a passivist, we're trying to get to a 0.6 air changes per 50 pascal. So we're trying to figure out, again, the leakage of that building at a very precise amount. And of course, the physicists that created the passive house principles did a lot of understanding of how much heat or cooling is required with that much air leakage. But if we just think of a passive house is 90% more energy efficient than a standard single family home. In commercial, it can change to maybe 50%, but there's a significant amount of energy that is being saved by having an excellent shell, meaning that it's completely airtight. The sweater has been built out. So again, we're getting less heat through our thermal bridges that are typically done. And it comes down to is what are the air tightness systems that you can do. Our products are more as a membrane based. We do have a liquid applied air barrier that could be used. In some other products, they're using the insulation as part of the airtight layer. And then another option too is taping your plywood or OSB seams. There's a gentleman that is one of my mentors. He talks about, we start a project from an architectural standpoint. We have 1.4 million decisions to make on how to build your house, and you get down to about 80 different products. Well, in air tightness, you get down to maybe a dozen brands, and each brand has their prescribed system, but they all follow a similar task, which is to create a continuous air barrier around. You can use different systems, and this is why it could be a little bit challenging for some people, because you can't go to Home Depot or Rona and buy an air barrier. You're buying a part of the system. So you have concrete coming out of the ground as the air barrier that ties into either a gasket or a silicone or a tape or whatever that is going to get connected to either a membrane, a peeling stick, a liquid applied air barrier, or a structural product, plywood or OSB, continue on, connect to the windows, and then connect to the roof and come back around. But where the detail is making sure that it is continuous. And a lot of times we've put in materials and not fully understanding it. And that's what's nice about is teaching people the building science and teaching framers and architects about how to apply those products we've already been putting into in a more detailed approach so that we can improve the air tightness on the home. And then once that's achieved, one of the other principles with passivos is looking at the proper ventilation. So if you build it right and make it nicely airtight, and then you ventilate it, you're well on your way to having a high performance home.
No, that's a great explanation, and thank you for looking at this from the other side, right? I always go from good to worse, and you're changing my mind on that one, and that's validate that for sure.
Yeah, again, like I said, there's a lot of options, and a lot of times we look at things, we're always told to get 3 quotes. Sometimes the 3 quotes are 3 different options, and the question is what one works for your project, your budget, your schedule, and how does it tie into things? And as we move forward, there's a lot of education of which products work and which application. And what's nice too is I found that we kind of spoke about the industry of passivos, how it's open source. A lot of suppliers are, yes, we're competing in the same field, but there's a lot of options for collaboration where depending on which product or which design people look at allows for different opportunities. It's really great that the market here is very friendly and there's a lot of opportunity to share and improve things and really help out the end user. Because again, there's a lot of questions of people, like homeowners being like, I just want a house. I want a shelter. I want my stainless steel appliances, my quartz countertop. And now I have to worry about step code. And a lot of builders aren't there yet. They haven't taken the courses or haven't educated themselves. And the fact that the industry understands this and there's a lot of support in helping people guide everyone the right way so that we're building healthy, comfortable, energy efficient homes and not going to have issues. And again, what's nice about high performance is that it is based on science and the level of detail is really there to ensure that we're going to build some amazing homes. And now in Canada, we're starting to see, like in Vancouver, we've got over 2.5 million square feet of passive homes in the city. And so we've gone from one way back in 2009 with the Whistler Passive House to over a handful. And we even do a bike tour. One of the things I'm involved in is the social aspect of getting the community together to have a beer and swap stories. Even in Vancouver, I call it the unofficial Passive House Street of Dreams because there's already 14 projects along one street. So it's great that we have local examples, local heroes in the industry to help us all grow and perform and have less failure. So I'm proud that the community is very supportive.
Oh, that's pretty nice because, I've been invited to some of those tours. Yeah, I have the situation. I need to just take a flight in order to go there. But it's pretty nice that all the owners community is open their houses in order to share with the public how well those buildings are performing. So it's not, okay, I'm saying that because I design it, or I'm saying that because I put a lot of my materials there. Is because the actual final user is enjoying the time and they are pretty pleased on what's going on with their lives, that let's go for it and just come and see it because this is pretty good way to live. No, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's one thing too about all these homes is we talk about it, but you really need to touch and feel and understand when we talk about comfort, because most people don't understand the difference of a regular home versus a high performance. We can talk about it. We can talk about the energy performance of it all, but once you actually feel the difference of the indoor quality that's better, the difference of daylighting, it's pretty exceptional. And for everyone, so again, if you're listening, wait until November and the spring where we have our international Passivos days where you can go and experience one of these buildings. And before you build something new, do some research and see if you can experience it, because you'll see why we're pushing this onto you. It's not just some marketing gimmick. It's actually for the benefit of your health and the enjoyment of living a better life without not much ease. Just we're talking about, we haven't mentioned the 5 Passivos principles: continuous air tightness, lots of insulation, better windows and doors, a proper HRV or ERV, or some of my colleagues talk about it's a fresh air machine you're adding to your home, and then minimizing those thermal bridges. And so all those 5 Passivos principles really do create a comfortable, healthy, energy efficient, resilient, durable, and then we still allow you architects and designers to make it still look good. And so they're pretty unique homes. And the fact, again, like I said, there's a lot of examples in North America that is not just a European concept now. It's really a global concept. It's pretty unique with over 60,000 passive house buildings built and lots more coming.
Oh, that's great, because something that you're touching there is about the hidden values, right? So at some point we're talking about aesthetics at some point, right? But you never see like the hidden features, which is healthy environment, thermal comfort, and again, acoustics is also like something that you get benefits from, right? So you have an airtight building, so a lot of the things that are going on outside is going to be just blocked, right? Just for the sense of everything is blocked in the proper way. So now you were talking about like houses, right? So we understand that passive house is not limited just for dwelling units, right? We're talking about also commercial areas, institutions are getting benefits from these principles as well. So how do you feel the market in the institutional world, big buildings about this? So what is your experience about that?
Just locally to you, it's one of my greatest experiences being in a car dealership. So Red Deer has one of the first car dealerships, and we're seeing all different kinds of buildings. The first community center in Surrey called the Clayton Community Center is just wrapping up. And when you look at the design and architecture of what they did to create that box with all the amenities that the Surrey community is going to be able to enjoy, it's fantastic. And now we're looking at big, tall buildings in the city of Vancouver, where in the next few years we'll have the tallest passive house buildings in the world located. And it's not just one, we thought 46 stories was going to be big. Now we're on to 60. And we're even now looking at a 30 to 40 story wood frame. So mass timber passive houses. So not only are we growing the passive house community, but we're also embarking on the embodied carbon conversation and adding that into our buildings, which is, I think, really exciting, because if you think of the design movement over the years, where we, as you said, we had LEED and we brought in passive house to help out on the energy side of things, and now LEED has moved into the Living Building Challenge, and so it's great to see a lot of these different areas come together, and the fact that any building that you would like to build, you can apply the passive house principles to it. If it's we've got student dorms that are being built in Toronto, Hamilton, as well as in Victoria. Any type of building that could be imagined is working towards it. At any rate, there are some buildings where it's not appropriate, but you'd be surprised. Like, we even have fire halls, and I think the latest one I heard was a bus terminal. Even there's only a couple of people working in the bus terminal, but we're making high performance for the buses. So yeah, it's pretty unique of where we're moving it towards. So getting out of the single family world and into the multifamily and institutional and commercial, it's pretty exciting.
Oh, that's great. That's great. No, it is pretty exciting, and you can just look like what is coming ahead, and you can just see like a full life of following projects that is not only the aesthetics. Again, it's not only the aesthetics point of view, but the actual performance of the building that is contributing to best way of living and work as well, and all the different uses that you can just think and imagine. No, that's great. Going back to the actual membrane.
Yeah.
So at some point I was thinking about costing, right? And I have cracked my head so many times, right? Saying, because whatever is in the market right now is like the most cost-effective solution, right? But at some point you have to kind of just pay attention to the point of difference of every material, right? So it's not only the cost, but what you can achieve about that. So you can see like different products can be like 20% higher, 10% higher in cost, or almost the double, right? But first of all, is trying to just look for what you want to achieve. If at some point you want to achieve like a pretty high performance in terms of whatever you can imagine, right? In sustainability, in airtightness, and what is the products that will work best for your project, you can just go and narrowing down to your products and competitors that are pretty similar on the actual material that you're using. Going to the actual technical portion of the actual membrane, something that impacted me the most is the actual physical configuration, because while this material that you have it is called Intello, right, which is calls like smart membrane, or basically like it has the properties to kind of change permeability depending on of the season, right? So that is pretty interesting, because at some point I can hear the myth saying that, oh, the paper barrier just 0.00001 perms. I don't think it worked on this climate or that climate. But it's pretty nice that the actual physical properties can change. So that is pretty amazing. Can you just give me a little bit more of an insight about that?
How do you like it so far? Thank you for being with us. If you want to know about the following part, just keep in touch and follow us for the next part of this episode.
And please don't forget to leave me a review on whichever platform that you're using to listen in this podcast. Either good or bad. Remember, Mexican have thicker skin. You won't hurt my feelings, that's for sure. And better yet, if it has some good criticism, so I can learn from it and improve it, that will be even greater. I understand this hasn't been perfect, but it can be better every time. I recognize your time is valuable, and would like you to enjoy this moment with me as well. Also, if you like what you get from this audio, I will recommend you to be the first to share this info with your friends, so maybe they can get something valuable from it as well. Thanks for listening, and let's meet again soon.